This is a bonus episode, or I might even say an emergency episode, because I have a pastor here whose church is not only surviving, but thriving through this coronavirus episode. He has found the secret of how to use Facebook Live, not only to communicate to your congregation, but also to the community. He averages between 100 and 200 engagements of people outside of his church with his Facebook Live every day. So let's go ahead and get started now. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Reverend Kevin Knox, the host of the Pastors Academy podcast. We have another bonus round. Just wanted to address some issues that we can deal with in our church, and that's basically how to connect, not with just our congregation, but especially with our community. I have Pastor Thomas, who has done a great job of demonstrating that exercise already. Thomas, give us a few ideas on how we can connect better to our church, and then we'll go on and talk about how to connect with our community.
Oh, thanks for having me back, Kevin. Yeah, I think we'll start with the church first. I think it's the people we know the best. And, let's start with the easiest thing. We can pick up the phone and call people. And we can put multiple people together on a phone call because you can add extra people on a phone call, especially those that don't have internet access. I think we forget in the world of everybody needs an online worship service. Not everybody connects with Facebook or the internet. And sometimes just literally having a group conference call. There's freeconferencecall.com, for example, that you can have all your folks call in. There's a kind of an homage to the old tree machine, right? Everybody would have the tree and they would have a phone tree. And I think I have a lot more older folks in my congregation. And so as much as I'm super techie, we're having kids make cards to mail out to some of our older folks because that's just how we can stay in touch with them. So super simple. And then you can crank it up to the Facebook Lives. I do a daily during Holy Week. We're going to do the Stations of the Cross every day. And these aren't long things. This is just literally hitting the button and sharing a reflection with folks that they can tune into anytime they want. And you can ratchet this all the way up to Zoom small groups. Zoom's made it very easy for folks to connect with one another. For $14 a month, your church can buy, you can have 100 people on there kind of thing. And you can do discipleship, families. I think that's the other thing we have to pivot towards now is, you used to have like adult groups and kid groups. And I think you're now looking at more intergenerational ministry. And I think there's some great places where scripture speaks into the topics of the day, which is there's a lot more conflict going around because we're all trapped together. There's parents who are trying to be teachers and they're trying to figure out finances. I think a lot of scripture speaks to a lot of these things. And I think the more we become topical and meet people where they are, I think we'll find out that the Bible studies will write themselves. And maybe you find that people are like, hey, I want some distraction from all of this. And what about that book of Leviticus that nobody reads about? Who wants Except now you find that we ran out of things to watch on Netflix, and Leviticus sounds really exciting. And it can be an exciting book, by the way. But yeah, I think you can ratchet all of those things up in terms of outreaching your community. But I would also caution people in the same way that we talked about the previous episode. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be authentic. And you want to meet people where they are and hear the cry, lament. And, we're pastors. We should have good news. I would hope we have good news. And I think we're in the good news dispensary. It's just how we can get that out. And I know a pastor who's handwriting letters to all of his congregants once a week. He doesn't have 100, but he's got 50. And who can't write 50 letters a week? If you break it down, I write 10 a day. So it's a great way of staying in touch with people using tech and low tech, right?
Love it. That's great. Some great ideas there. You also have a reputation for your outreach to the community. You had your mayor stop by, knock on the doors of the church and say, I've heard what you're doing. So tell us a little about your community outreach.
So I think it looks differently now. And I'll just preface this by saying, okay, it's, April 3rd-ish in the world we're at. I'm planning to be in this position for 6 months. I don't think this is going to resolve itself anytime soon. And so I think that takes a bit of different planning and investment. If you think this is going to go away in a month, you might plan differently. I'm on the other side of that fence. I think we're going to be in some long-term isolationist, quarantine-ish group meeting, if you will. And so our outreach...
Let me interrupt you, Thomas. For those who haven't heard his previous video, he is married to a doctor, and they saw this come in a month and a half ago or so, and they were right on the button. So He may
Doing our
be a
best.
little bit more right than we want to believe, but it may last longer than a month. So just want to say he has some authority speaking that way.
As much as one can have authority in this time and space, but yes, I hope I'm wrong. Like most folks, I hope we're all wrong. But that being said, we're launching a second online worship service targeted not to church people. We're targeting that towards people who would never encounter a church, but want to hear a voice of comfort. We're going to play some secular music. We're going to play some games online. We're going to do lots of things. And let me back that down a little bit. The first thing that we even started doing in the community was Facebook Live videos and posting them inside Facebook groups inside our community to let people know our church was not closed, that churches were closing for physical worship. Our church was not closed. And we still kept doing food ministry. But even if I wasn't doing food ministry, I would still be doing the daily devotions every day. I would still be putting out good words no matter where I could get them and put them out. And so Facebook groups, Nextdoor, even Craigslist, you'd be surprised at how much conversation goes on Craigslist and lots of other online bulletin boards, conversation points, the coffee shops of the internet, if you will. And just put your stuff out there to let people know your church is very much alive. Now, we target our neighborhood because we want people to know this is that church that's on Galvez Street. We want to know that this is our church. Because on the other side of this, and there will be on another side of this, there will be the promised land after we get through this desert. And that's my faith inside of this, because there are people that are going to connect with us physically that are finding us through our online connections. And we've already seen that. People are coming to our food drives. They're connecting with our daily devotionals that picked up food that then log in. So we're already seeing discipleship happen through interchanging how people find us. They find us, they come to the food thing, they find us on the web. And it's a way for us to do that online connectivity. And so to kind of crank up the difficulty level, if you're like, oh, I already do those videos, we're going to start doing Facebook targeting ads for Holy Week. We're going to be advertising Easter like no tomorrow. Now, we're going to spend some money. We're going to spend about $100, $150 on targeted Facebook ads, YouTube ads, because that's where people are. I want to be where people are. People are on Instagram. I want to be on Instagram. Why? Because that's where people are. And so we want to tell people that the church is deeply alive. We're not trying to figure it out, even if we are. But we are here. We're excited for whatever Easter, and we hope people join us. Here's what we got. We're going to do a sunrise service. We're going to do a 10:30 gospel, and we're going to do this new worship experience for people who don't normally attend church but want to feel grounded to a wider community kind of thing. And we've seen the trajectory move up. We have a congregation of about 20 people that physically meet here. We're reaching 100, 150, 200 people a day. And that's not views, by the way. Those are actual people that we are engaging on a daily basis. And that's after like a week and a half to 2 weeks. People are searching because there's only so much stuff on Netflix and there's only so much stuff on their Amazon. So content right now is king. And if you can produce content, especially for your local neighborhood and your community, and you can tell them that you're out here, I think outreach has never been a more fertile field if you let people know that you're planting, right?
You have any little quick pointers on Facebook advertising for those who haven't ever done it before?
The biggest thing I can tell you is know what your budget is. Because so three things. One, know what your budget is. Facebook does a great job of limiting the amount of budget that you have. So you can limit, and so you only spend what you need to. And you're going to have to spend money. Sorry. If you got to put some investment into ministry. If you're not willing to put some investment in, we're probably not good conversation partners, because you're going to have to put some money up to make things go round.
That's true for everything, though. So keep talking.
True. That's right. We pay our musicians. Well, we should, but we do pay our people to make. So that would be one. Set your budget. Two, know who you're targeting. Don't just send out an advertisement to everybody. Target your neighborhood. Facebook does a great job of micro-targeting in zip codes, but don't just spam it to zip codes. If you are a person that's really, let's say, high church, more traditional, you have a lot of older folks in your congregation, then target those folks. Don't send that ad to younger people. If that's not your strength, don't send those ads to younger people. just to be totally transparent, that new church service that we're launching, we're targeting ads towards young families, young kids sitting home in their college age, or they're sitting around doing nothing. And, it's actually called Couchella, which is a play on Coachella. Anyway, so it's one of those things that we're not going to advertise that worship service to, a senior citizen. It's just not going to work. Know who you're targeting, know your audience, and that'll help you on the budget side. And then thirdly is,
let me review. So basically, we can break down our budget to a daily budget as well, like $10 a day or something, right?
Absolutely. You can spend $5. I think the minimum is $5 a day or whatever. And you can turn the spigot off when you're done. I mean, there's not that big of a deal.
And we can also target by zip code. So we can keep narrowing it down. Then the demographics of that zip code. Mm-hmm. So if we want to do like a mile within our church, we can do that.
Yeah. I mean, you can even get it by race, ethnicity, money. Like, I'm not going to target a bunch of folks who make a lot of money because they don't exist in my neighborhood, and that's fine. But yeah, you can really target it down because you want to put ads in front of people who are most likely to respond. And if you're a church that's normally functioning as a Christian church, that you primarily have Christians that engage with you, then target only Christians that are home, that don't have anything to do. Just because they're a Christian doesn't mean they have a church. It means they check the box on Facebook or they have Christian tendencies. It doesn't mean they have a home church. For me, for example, I am like, I don't target Christians. I want to go after all the people who hate church. And so that's my demographic. That's who I go after. But I know my audience. Like, I know who I want to go hang with, and I know who fits well with our church. And so that's what you have to know is if somebody walked in on a Sunday morning, how would they best fit sitting next to Aunt Gertrude or Bobby or whatever? Visualize that person. And that's who you want to drive your ad campaign around, because that's the person you know well. That's the person that's been in. And it's not to say that you don't want anybody else and, we're excluding people in the kingdom. Look, you got $150. Use your $150, sharp as a tack. Wisely. Yeah. Wise, be that wise as a serpent thing. Right.
So wait, let's go backtrack again. You said you've already had some engagement with people, not church members, but people from your Facebook advertising already.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So when somebody clicks on an event, for example, so everything we do is an event. So when we do our dailies, that's an event. We're going to do a Holy Week. So we're going to walk through and do Stations of the Cross. That's an event. When somebody clicks interested, I immediately go to that person and I send them a private message. Hey, thank you so much for clicking on that event. My name's Reverend Thomas Hargis. If you need anything, here's my Facebook contact info. I hope to see you there, Wednesday at 6:00. And so you don't just assume that people are just going to magically show up. You engage them. You just engaging them in a way you continue to connect with them in all the different ways. And when they show up for your event and you see like one or two people join, hi, greet them. Like, have a greeter, have somebody. So like I have somebody who, like, while I'm on the camera, I have somebody log in and they're just a room greeter that they say, hi, how's it going? Hey, hit the like button. It sounds cheesy, but that's how Facebook algorithms work. The more people that hit the like button or the heart or the emoji, Facebook then goes, oh, people like this. We should put it in front of other people. And so that's how my content ends up in front of other people, just because I ask those dorky things like, hey, give it a like, share it with your friends. Hey, let me know where you're listening from. And all of those comments and emoji clicks and all of those things, which seem really hokey, they are huge analytical. There's lots of brain power behind that. All of those things are indicators to Facebook and or YouTube that your content is hot. And so that means it's going to show up more in front of people. And then you'll just end up reaching more people. And then the snowball effect kind of happens.
Do I remember you already saying you've had engagements of over 100 people, 150, something like that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's just Facebook. So we'll take a Facebook video, for example, and we'll move it over to YouTube, and then we'll customize it for YouTube and then throw it up there again. And so, and this is the other thing I should probably stress, right? People are hung up on numbers. I had 1,000 views. I had 500 views. Views are worthless. And this is why. You can have 1 million views, but if nobody actually talks to you, did you really connect with anybody? I would much rather have 30 views where I've connected with 20 of those people than have 1 million views where I've connected with 20 of those people. And so this is all about, just like anything else. If you had a visitor walk into your church on a Sunday, why would you not say hello? Why would you not introduce yourself? Why would you not connect with them? Hey, tell me about your family. What's going on? What brought you in here today? Hey, tell me. Like, why would you not do that on a Sunday morning? So people think that the rules are different online. They're not. The rules are the same. The communication device, text, hey, do you mind if I shoot you a FaceTime video? I'd love to introduce myself, say hi to you. I mean, there's lots of ways to do that. Think of a FaceTime video like a home visit. You don't want to do that right away. Your Uncle Creepy. But over time, you can invite them. Hey, we have a Zoom small group if you want to come in. Don't even turn on your video. Just come in, listen to what we're doing. If you want to turn on the video, totally fine. But hey, come and join us. Hey, if not, we'll see you tomorrow at the daily devotion or whatever. But anybody that comments on your video, reply back. Hit a smiley face or a heart face. Put some emojis. It sounds cheesy, but realize it's not about you. It's about what the other person's perceiving and seeing and feeling connectivity. You can make some powerful connections through the internet. Just put in the same effort that you would on a Sunday morning that you would with a visitor. You're just doing it through a different medium.
Okay, I interrupted you. You had 2 points. One was, know your avatar, the person, and your budget. And point 3, I apologize. Keep going.
Well, no, I was going to say video. A lot of folks want to use a very low budget, if you will. They put a picture or they put some kind of stationary graphic when they make an ad. Pull out your phone and make a video. If you want to go to Calvary Hilltop Facebook page, I mean, you'll see. I stand in my sanctuary. I hold my phone up and I said, hey, this is Reverend Thomas Hargis. I'm the pastor at Calvary Hilltop United Methodist Church. We are doing a awesome, super exciting Holy Week schedule for you. We're going to do Stations of the Cross. Hey, click the link below. We'd love to see you here. Thanks so much. I hope you're doing well. God bless you. Boom. Just being yourself, and people seeing you. People are home. People are alone. People want to see a human face. They want to see your eyeballs. Look in the lens. I stress that all the time. Look in the lens. So the more that you can show your face, and I get that some pastors are probably very humble. And they're like, oh, I don't want to put my face on the internet. You put your face on a pulpit every Sunday. Yeah. Get over yourself. You put your face on a pulpit, get over yourself. You're just going to have to do it. And it's because this is where you're meeting a need and you're ministering to people. And in a lot of ways, we're not pastors anymore. We're chaplains. We've become much more chaplain-y and meeting the morale needs of the folks that are in a situation. And yes, we are being pastoral, but I think we need to put our chaplain's hat on and really realize that we're doing a lot of triage in encountering people where they are. So yeah, do a video. If you're going to do an ad, don't spend your money if you're not going to do a video. You're just going to torture money. Oh, and don't use boost post that Facebook loves to have. Oh, boost your post. Don't do that. Run an ad. Boost post just has your money and it's just throwing your post in front of people. Don't do that. Do the targeted ad. That's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. And here's the deal. If people aren't engaging your ad, you say you run your ad for like 12 hours. And if people aren't engaging your ad and you're spending a lot of money, stop the ad. There's something wrong with it. Stop the ad. There's nothing bad about it. Don't let it run till $150 and go, well, we only got 3 people that clicked on it. Well, there must be something that tells people why they won't click on it. Run it by your friends, run it by your colleagues. Don't spend the $150. Run it for about 12 hours and you should see some type of a click-through rate. You can Google all of this fun stuff of click-through rates, what's an expected return of how many people, if it gets in front of how many people should click. Don't waste your money. If it's not working, that's fine. Turn it off. Shoot me a message if you want to ask me. I'll probably just refer you to some other people on YouTube that are really good at this stuff. But it's all trial and error. And this is where people are. And this is where we are personally investing some of our money to try to reach our community because they're home. They're not usually connected to a church. And I think this is a great opportunity for churches to reach out. People don't walk into a church. And this is one of the unique places where we can walk into somebody's living room or into somebody's kitchen and say hello and it's much more accessible for people to put a toe in the water. They don't have to drive to your location. They don't have to deal with your horrible hospitality or your bad coffee, whatever. They can sit at home and they can connect with what you're trying to deliver anyway, which is the good news. You can bypass all that other stuff and you can literally be authentic, which is what Jesus asks us to be. And you can bring them raw scripture. You can bring them into a place where hopefully you can provide them some comfort with the good news, which is what all that coffee and the bad donuts and the greasy handshakes. That's all of that is to get someone to hear the good news. And I'm making fun of that, but we don't need all that. We never needed all of that. And so I think this comes back to the most important thing. And I've said it in lots of different ways. This is about connecting with somebody one-on-one, a soul to another soul. And you can do that through text. You can do that through video. You can do that through audio and Zoom. You can do it, but you got to connect with people. And clicking on a heart emoji, I promise you, God, I can't really promise you. I have a serious theological doubt that God's going to send you to hell for clicking on too many heart emojis. So I think we're okay. I think we're okay.
The ground out there is very fertile for people who are looking for hope and faith. So this is an opportune time not to just survive as a church, but to thrive. So Thomas, you have some great ideas, some great experiences, some great wisdom. Do you have anything else you want to share before we conclude?
Punch fear in the face. Don't be afraid to fail. I think that's kind of the big thing in this time period. Fight, flight, or freeze is kind of the response that people have to trauma. I don't think the church can freeze. Pastors, I don't think they can freeze. I think we really have to push forward. If you want to call this fighting, fine. Call it fighting. But I think it's one of those things that we really do have to punch fear in the face. Put those ads out there, put your videos out there, and just be authentic, be yourself. Don't be afraid. I don't think Scripture talks much about being afraid. I think it talks about being bold. So,
thank you very much, Thomas. Great words. Appreciate it.
Talk to you soon. All right, bye.
If you like what you've heard, then you may want to check out the Facebook page for Thomas E. Hargis. His last name is spelled Hargis. Hargis. He's got some great how-to videos on his own personal Facebook page. Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next bonus episode. In the meantime, let's not grow weary in doing well.